want to do just a quick little tutorial on how to emboss in complex geometry. The first part of this video, well, the bulk of this video, is showing how I build with geometry, but I'll interject every now and then when it's applicable. But for the most part, it's very straightforward, just a single solid part with some pretty minor features, but one aspect of more complex geometry. This is a purely visual model. This isn't based off of any real measurements. If you copy these measurements, it probably won't fit whatever machine you're trying to put it on. You should buy the version Cloud designed and is working to create with a foundry, just in case someone was trying to 3D print this. But so here's where the complex geometry is derived from. It's this filleted sweep. So what I did was I created a manual fillet to sweep around that kind of central pylon, and that's where the complex geometry is derived from. So it's this convex surface, and if you looked earlier in the video, it actually, because the center pylon is offset from the center of the base, it's going to create not a variable concavity like a loft would, but it does create this kind of variable edge around just due to the offset. So I just did a simple cut here to kind of blow away all that extra material hanging off the edges because it wasn't playing nice with the delete. But now you can see how the curvature is the same around, but the edge does change. So here I'm just popping in some holes. These were mirroring lines I was going to use, but it was easier in the end to just mirror the feature rather than manually press through all of them. And then it makes it easier if you have to go back. So it's one of those best practice things. Here I also made a mistake. I should not have measured from the corner. I should have chosen one of the edges because it was already snapped to that 45-degree line, and it would just follow that line if I changed the distance. So I should have set a distance from the edge and not from the corner. But I guess it doesn't really matter because, again, this is just a purely visual model. It's a representative model. It's not based on any measurements or anything like that. So here I had issues with the mirroring going through. I didn't push up high enough with the extrude cut. So I just got to delete the little corners. And then just fill out the edges to give it a more polished look and get rid of the edge of that the main fillet, I guess you'd call the main body fillet, the top fillet, the riser fillet. Um, just eliminate those edges, make it all prim and proper. So this is when we're going to go back in the timeline to when we originally made this top fillet. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into the surface workspace and choose to offset that face. Now the distance you're going to offset this face is going to determine how thick, how deep your emboss is. I guess how high it rises off the surface. And you can do this earlier on when you first create the feature. You can go back in the timeline, or you can just do it initially if you know you're going to be embossing on a certain side of a part. You can create it just straight off the rip and not need to go back in time and just have that that part, that surface set. So in this part, what we're going to do is we're going to extrude this. I had a bit of an issue since the plane that I set it at the angle ended up going beneath my part. There was a little bit of stick out of the text at the bottom. You could easily fix this by either putting an offset plane higher up or by shifting the text. But I did want to point out that there's a better method for that. So here's where the kind of meat and potatoes of it is. You're going to join the text to the main body that you're going to want it attached to. So now that's a single part with the text. And then you're going to use the offset face that we created before to split the body. You can also choose to replace the face if you want to go around and click every single letter, the face of every single letter. But for me, this was a lot easier just because I had a single part. You don't need the extension usually. And then if you click on your main part, it'll highlight which one it is, and then you can select all the other ones and just delete them. And then you're left with a finished part. The last thing I wanted to show was you can go back, select the offset face, change its distance, and that will change how deep the emboss or how far offset the text face is. But as you can see, it is now, if I stop playing with it for a second, you can see how it follows the curvature of the original face perfectly. So that's how you create an offset face on complex geometry. Subscribe. I'll make more videos, I promise. At some point. Thanks for watching.